Well, everyone, while we wait for our next game to get ready, welcome to the Rally Cry halftime show. Actually, too, that was a pretty quick game to start things off. I mean, it definitely didn't seem like where the game was going to end. I feel like we still had a bit more of good gameplay between us, but kudos Immortals. That was awesome.
Very rare that we see the early Baron takes turn into a game end. Usually it's like, okay, the Baron take gets them a 5k gold lead, then they start stacking up dragons, and the second Baron they push in for a big win. But props to Immortals, first off, for going for that Baron. They had the vision control and they had the confidence to go for it. And then number two, that they just committed to the play using both teleports to get in and just make sure that they ended the game from that position.
You want to talk about commitment? I mean, they committed to a play like that from draft, really, from the beginning is what I'm trying to say. Because you lock in Blitzcrank at second pick, I'm already thinking, wow, you're giving away a lot of information. You're very confident about this one, but they stuck to the playstyle. Joey on those more tankier engage type champions, where I mean, we can debate whether or not you consider Blitzcrank engage, but the point is, you start fights. It's the go button because you pull somebody in, and then your team kills them. And that actually was so instrumental in FlyFam losing control over that bottom side of the map, because checking fog is so dangerous. You didn't have a true tank. Lunasi is a good frontliner, but Cassante is kind of weird like that.
I feel like that moment would be in the moment of any anime where, you know, everything changes, which is perfectly aligned with what we're going to be doing for our halftime show, which is Challenger Cliches Anime Edition. So Beatdown, I know that you're a big anime connoisseur over there.
What?
So,
what are you doing? Don't look at that. That's fine.
You literally have like 20 posters behind you. I got barred. Does that count?
But even for anyone who's not as familiar with anime, we're going to be talking about a couple of cliches that you tend to see in an anime or in a lot of other TV shows and movies out there, actually. And then we'll talk about which player or which little storyline, what moment kind of reminds us of that, all right?
Okay, I got it.
Right, so
I just pulled the rosters so I can
just to make sure you're good. All right.
Yeah,
so
I'm good. I'm ready.
The very first one we're gonna do is that big downfall, that episode 1, where something happens to the main character, where that is the moment everything changes for them, that gives them that personality or that drive or that motive to be taking on that challenge ahead of them.
Like the Demon Slayer episode 1, where it's like, okay, well, my family, I guess I'm gonna go on an adventure now.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
I mean, yeah, but also if you've seen every anime ever, you've seen the first episode of Demon Slayer, so you know.
This is why they're cliches. It's a cliche. So
yeah, exactly.
So then we're looking for a player, a story, whether it's playoffs, this game, through the split. It kind of, you know, someone, you know, maybe got knocked down a little bit, you know?
I'm gonna go. I got one. Did you have one beat done?
No, I gotta keep thinking.
I'm gonna go. This might be a stretch. I don't know if it's the correct answer, but I'm gonna go Wixie. Because Wixie was, I think, had a really having a solid performance last year on 100 Thieves Academy, gets dropped, and then has to go on a amateur team through Summer Proving Grounds on the AoE Ginger Turmeric and makes a very deep run. And I feel like that was kind of the breakup of the family, was like, it was 2 family breaks, right? Like, the first family break was getting dropped from Academy. The second family break was having to leave all the players that are now on Wildcard doing pretty well for themselves. And now he has to rebuild and restart his hero's journey here on Immortals Challengers. And to his credit, is performing incredibly well this split. I think he is kind of the main character of this team from now on. So I think it applies in that way, definitely. But it's kind of a stretch because that happened a full year ago now. So I don't know if that applies.
I mean, if you've not seen the ones that happened, like it's the flashback episodes where whatever
The
tragic
childhood,
happened.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a flashback episode.
Yeah,
Okay.
no,
All right,
I
can buy
really
this.
like that, actually. I know it's like your answer, but like I really think that's one of the best ones, especially from players in this series. Because like Wixie was a player who, you said it, was fine on 100 Thieves Academy last year, but they let him go. And the fact is, AoE Ginger Turmeric throughout all the qualifiers were a team that middling performances, never really won anything. I think they got top 4 once in a qualifier. They got into Proving Grounds and all that, and that was cool. But you know when we realized this team might go far? It was when Wixie joined. And that's when a lot of us who keep up with, whether it's semi-pro academy at the time, we're like, oh, hold on a second. This team could be a little something. And man, they delivered.
Wixie, okay, that's a roster.
Yeah.
Any networks out there? You have your new anime right
Dude,
here.
yeah, like
we can write it for you.
This is literally just like off the cuff.
Perfect. All right, we'll see if we can write another one. All right. So our next cliche anime style is the weak one of the group that everyone else picks on, but ends up becoming the strongest of them all.
Ooh. Okay. Who would be? Would that be like Gohan? I'm trying to think like in an anime.
People kind of nobody really picked on Gohan per se.
Piccolo picked on him for like half a season, but you know.
Hey, that
like
was training.
It was training.
It's training. I know.
He just couldn't dodge.
I don't know. I kind of get like Naruto vibes like right off the gate. It's always meant to be powerful, but kind of just got picked on. So
yeah.
And then look, after 1.5 million episodes, where he ended up. So
took a while, yeah.
Took a hot second, but
I don't see a clear one for that. I have an initial answer, but I want to spend a little bit longer thinking about it. Do you have anything yet, Beat?
So mine is less of a player and more than a team thing.
Okay.
Because for me, I think of FlyFam as a team that got picked on a lot. Not like literally everyone's like, wow, FlyFam, like you suck. Why are you here? But the fact is they were struggling a lot during the earlier parts of the split. I mean through the majority of the split. I'm not even gonna cap. Like it was a struggle for them. But despite all the underestimating and the doubting, they've actually turned into a pretty formidable team where they're at this point that even if they go to relegation today and they lose, I actually am very confident we will still see them in Challengers next summer.
Even though they lost that first game, in the end, there is definitely like highlight moments, like being able to bait Immortals in and taking a fight that way, or when Lunacia was able to kind of get Wixie away from the group and everyone from FlyFam just kind of like just jumped on him, like almost like that.
Sports anime are like that all the time, where the main team is starting to turn things around. You should, they're amazing. Okay, we'll talk about that later. But the point is, there's always the main team with all the main characters, and they actually lose early on. Where things are looking good.
They do an Ash Ketchum to him? Wait, what? How could they do that?
Not like a gajillion times like Ash Ketchum had to go through, but they have like the big loss where everybody's like down and, upset. They're like, damn, like we really wanted to win. We're going to work even harder. And then they come back stronger and then they win it all in the end. So basically what I'm saying is FlyFam are going to win NACL Summer.
I mean, I was going to say, I think in order for that to be true, they have to at least win this series. So I'm going to go the other way around because this is somebody that I personally bullied a little bit, and that's ADD. I'm going to look at the top laner for Immortals Challenger. So if we're looking at somebody who started as a weaker player and then scaled, even just in this game, I was critical of the champion he picked. I've been critical in certain games saying ADD might be like the 16th best top laner in the league out of 16 top laners, but I think that ADD is showing his niche and how he's coming into his own, and especially on picks like that Malphite pick, I think he had a couple of really big engages and was a powerful tool for the team. So that's my own personal view, is like, all right, ADD, you're proving me wrong. Good job, keep it up, and I think if you can close out this series, then that'll silence me for a little bit now.
You'll be content. You'll be silent. You're good.
Till the next series, then you have to do it again. But
yeah.
How consistency works.
Exactly.
All right. And our final anime trope that we're going to go to is that back against the wall moment. I mean, I feel like back against the wall is like the biggest cliche out there.
Yeah.
But that team that, when everything looks to be hopeless, when they have that one little glimmer of chance of where they're able to be going from there, whether it's, they just got their butt whooped in a fight and they're, standing there in the rain and everything's, coming down, that sad moment, and then they go on a tear. You know what I'm talking about, B?
Yeah, I got it.
You guys know, yeah.
Yeah, it's, right before they go saying, like, the next level, right? Like, they have to take a certain amount of punishment first. I'm going to go Joey. He's got that clutch factor, baby. He will always drop early, but make those deep runs in brackets regardless. So that's
I'm gonna say, actually, this might be a hot take, but I'm gonna say Blaze, because I'm going back to a memory last year when I believe it was spring Proving Grounds Qualifier 2, where he was on no freaking team, and he actually clutched up big in playoffs for them to win the tournament. So, you know, he's shown us he has it in the past. Can we see it again?
Here, I'm going to offer up a different answer here. FLYF, because now looking into the game 2, this is elimination on the line for them. It's time to hop into draft to see if they can bring us into a game 3 or if this is going to be it for them for now.
All right. Hey, Sierra, that's a lot of confidence in the team that is currently down to the series, but also has the moniker of the FLYF moment happening in games. But that would be the ultimate hero arc, actually. Wait a minute. No,
exactly.
That's
I was waiting for you to pick up on it.
Yeah, because they've established this precedent that they will drop games because there's a moment in the game where it just all falls apart. But they've learned from every single one of those. And now from this point on, it's not going to happen. Okay, that could be a good story. I could buy into that one.
That's right. FLYF down, but not out. That's what we're looking for here in this game 2. They've chosen to be on the blue side. What are they going to prioritize? I mean, they were on blue side last time. Wouldn't be surprised to see the Gragas once more. And the question really is going to be, do you let the Blitzcrank go through? I really think that pick was a big part of what allowed Immortals to, I want to say eventually take control of the game, but it was more like around 18, 19 minutes. It was impossible to walk into your own bottom side jungle, and it was inevitable that they would fall at that point.
I think that you should probably ban it right now. And then I like the idea of going for the Gragas blue one still, because I still think Blaze piloted that fine.
Yeah, he was good.
Went a little deep in that last fight, but up until that moment, I was actually very impressed with Blaze on the Gragas, and throughout the split, I think it's one of his better picks. So this makes a lot of sense to me. Now do Immortals ban the Gragas, though, because that might push FLYF onto something like the Annie, and then they can go for their own counterpick. But no, it's a Heimerdinger ban.
The handshake really at this point in the meta is Gragas Annie. So you just want to let that one go through. If you ban one, FLYF just get the other. So they're happy to go for the exchange. We're going to see almost certainly the Annie come through here. And I had a feeling Joey's Thresh, we've seen some incredible performances from him since his pop back in the meta, and FLYF really have a decision to make. Do you let that Aphelios go through? Do you grab it and take something like the Nautilus for yourself? And that's something you really need to consider, because one, Wixie's Aphelios game 1 was great, and 2, Aphelios Thresh, incredibly dangerous combination to let through.
Yes. And Aphelios is something that Instinct has piloted in the past, so it's not outside of his wheelhouse. But they're going to go for a very different style, something that can also scale a little bit, play safe in lane. I'm assuming that Tom Kench will be paired with this Senna as the farmer in the lane. And then you have the fasting Senna, or the Senna can still CS if you really want to. It just means that you're going to be more item intensive rather than snack intensive. I'm still going to say it, though. I mean, Annie in the support pick, you can hold the
Thresh is too strong.
Maybe Immortals are just realizing it's like, yeah, we're not going to bait anybody. They know we're playing mid. There's no point.
When we think of, that's locked, right?
Aphelios.
That's not Aphelios. No, but respect. Wixie is a Draven player. Draven is great on the current meta, and it's important because, yeah, Aphelios would have been fine. You'd still scaled really well, but Draven is the lane bully. He's the guy in the schoolyard who yoinks your lunch money, and against a small and meek early lane, bottom lane, like Senna TK, this is where you start to snowball. Already we're seeing where a lot of attention is going to be in Immortals Challenges.
Now I'm looking for junglers that can dive under turrets. Elise has been falling out of favor lately, but I still think that she could be really solid here because you can juggle turret aggro so well.
True.
And then you have CC that can set up the Thresh, or the Thresh can then set up the Cocoon to land. So maybe Chad will go towards that. It's not necessarily a jungler he's known for, so FLYF will instead ban away the Graves. I don't remember what they banned at last point. There's another carry jungler that they had taken off the table.
Maybe it was Kindred? No, it was Rengar.
It wasn't the Kindred. It was the Rengar. No. Okay, but it's still back to the Viego. I mean, I still think this works. You can still look for gank spot lane with this too.
And there's still plenty. You have CC in your kit. You have gank set up with the Thresh. There's still a lot of options to dive this bottom lane early on, and that's where I'm keeping my eyes on in those first couple of minutes here. And for FLYF, you have the Senna Kench. We have this Gragas that could go into Blaze's hands, but I actually want to pivot into something, because you need something that's going to come online sooner, is exactly what I was going for here. And though you scale a lot, you still need to scale a lot as a Vigar. You get a lot of great zone control with the cage. Once you get that death cap, you spike insanely, and it's that secondary source of damage that FLYF need in these fights. I love it.
And also, the Draven range is not the farthest. He does have to run into Veigar cage range in order to get autos in. So then you're stuck in there. You can't use the Lantern to get out. You're still going to get stunned. You're going to have to flash at that point. So I'm expecting Wixie to take flash cleanse into this now. I mean, it would have made sense anyway into the Senna, but now you pretty much need it. Oh, we get a Rumble!
What? Wait, Rumble top?
It's got to be a Rumble top then.
Wow, I mean, it's funny because you were talking about ADD really starting to prove himself to you a bit with that last game. I'm less convinced overall of him as a player, and especially locking in something like the Rumble. Buffed on this patch in a very strong position, you're able to play from range with that ultimate. This is the real test there for ADD if he can really scale up like you were talking about.
Yeah, this is much more resource-intensive of a champion than the Malphite would be, than ADD typically plays in general.
Right.
So that means Chad wants to put resources into Draven, wants to put resources into Rumble, and Annie is such an easy lane for you to gank to put resources into yourself. Immortals, like, kind of everybody wants to be the main character in this draft in a way.
Yeah, agreed.
It's kind of what we call Joshi calls this a threat overload composition, where there's too many threats at one time. They all want resources, but if any of them get resources, now they are a problem. Whereas FlyFam, more scaling options, more defensive options. They're going to be playing back, and they need to succeed in that game plan because elimination is on the line. One more loss, and they're out of the tournament. They got to win 2 in a row here as we're into game 2.
And I got to say, Kangas, with their backs against the wall, that scaling from them that we need to see, this is a good draft that they've gotten here, Kangas. The thing I really like about this draft from FlyFam, and that I'm questioning from Immortals, is the thing that's so important to me, especially in these scenarios, how easy is your comp to execute? Are there clear threats that you want to be playing for? Well, FlyFam's very easy front to back. You have CC on almost every character on your side of the map, and you have a low resource top laner, meaning you can focus all your attention bottom side. You talked about it. Joshi coining the term threat overload, I think, is perfect for Immortals composition because Wixie needs to be the focus in this early game. If he falls behind, he's not going to be able to do damage. He's not going to be able to keep up, and the summoner spell choices heal because you're lane focused. Cleanse isn't good for you in this bottom lane matchup. Makes that Veigar pick even smarter from Blaze.
I still think the cleanse would have been the better choice here, but yeah, that means that they really do need to get ahead. Now, we see the ward drop top. We saw those early invades from both teams. Immortals were stacking up, going bot lane and getting one ward to see if the Raptors are started. FlyFam did the same, so that means Chad is spotted on the clear, Hyper is not. Immortals Challengers will pretty soon start to guess, okay, he's not starting bot side. That means ADD needs to be a little careful, because maybe Hyper could go for an early gank. Unlikely. It's going to be about tracking each other's junglers for the early game for sure.
Right, you see the pings coming through. They know where chat is at the moment here, so Lunacia should be respecting that. And we're even seeing, wow, the aggressive early buy from ADD with the Dark Seal and the refillable pots. He's looking to get ahead on his own in this matchup here, and that top prio is going to be pretty important for securing the Rift Herald. But I still favor FlyFam around that 8-minute mark as long as things go even. Just because of the CC, how impactful their ultimates are on their side. I'm really leaning on Hyper with this one because of that Cyclone. I like FlyFam's chances.
All right, we'll see. I still think that a Draven at 8 minutes and even Rumble level 1 ult is pretty powerful. I don't know exactly how this lane is supposed to go. I'm not knowledgeable enough about the Rumble into Gragas, but it was counterpick, so clearly ADD, especially with this build, is saying, I can win this matchup as Chad goes for an invade here. Red buff, but no blue buff yet. Should know that Hyper's here. Approaches early, smites away the Raptors. Okay.
Yeah, so you have this bot prio from this matchup we talked about being so Immortals favored. So this is good from Chad, recognizing these timers and managing to snag away some camp. The big thing I'm looking for in the few minutes is if he gets to continue using that prio to steal away those Raptor camps constantly. Something we've been seeing, especially lately, from some of our better junglers in the league, is the fact that they use their prio so well to shut out enemy junglers from the game. This actually happened to Chad in their series against FlyQuest Challengers, which is what got them at this spot in the bracket a couple days ago.
Let's take a look at how the early game's gone, because both junglers have done their clears for now, although Chad actually does have a few more to go for. There's a nice ward placed by FlyFam's bot lane to spot Chad walking in. They have information. Will it matter, though? Because sometimes they still get punished regardless. Yeah. Joey and Wixie are walking the wave in. Yasui's roaming down here, too. Teleport's available for Lunacia and Blaze. They might need one or the other. That sentence lands on the sword. That's good start, and Yasui doesn't want to commit to the full play, so Immortals, they have to walk away. Nicely done from Sword and Instinct.
The flay was what Joey was looking for. Had that landed, the all-in would have been there from Immortals. Really good, though, from Instinct and Sword to absorb that pressure. I mean, we were talking about at top of the show how they have improved as a bot lane. Their intelligence, the way they play the laning phase overall, and it's really culminating here against Wixie and Joey, especially with the dominance they had in that first game, and how important it is for Instinct and Sword to come ahead, or at least stay even in this matchup.
Chad doesn't have red buff, Hyper does, but Chad's a level up. I think Hyper saw that there was no red buff. Maybe he can win this. Hits level 4 off of the Wolf steals, and now with the red buff, taking the fight 1v1 against Chad. Turns it back around. Yasui doesn't have the stun stacked up, but now just gets it. Should be a kill. The first blood to Blaze, who flashes in under turret.
Worth. You go with a 1-for-1. Blaze makes it worth it for the side of FlyFam. You get more stacks on the Vigard. You get that extra 100 gold. Oh, wow.
Ooh, Death Sentence plus the play, and Instinct's dead. Wixie with one more auto gets it. Cash in early for Draven.
And that's twice now. Instinct has been caught out by Joey from the bush play. Really good stuff from Joey. Why we keep highlighting it's this meta is great for him here. And Wixie cashing in early is what needs to happen for the side of Immortals Challengers. The fact that they're naturally winning in this 2v2 is great, and Chad needs to continue taking advantage of that.
Top lane, meanwhile, ADD has been getting a lead for himself up here, but the rest of the map looking all right for FlyFam so far. Let's get a replay of this.
I like that Hyper just stands still, presses the S key to bait that he used the W, and now he actually uses it to chase Chad down, and he knows he needs one auto for the kill, but didn't want to flash between turrets. Instead, Blaze gets it, and who better to get it on here? And of course, the bot play. Really nice hooks. I actually want to see.
There's so many minions.
Oh, the fact that he walked out. Really good. Good stuff.
Wow, that is so tragic. It's tough because as a Senna, you know, the only thing you can say is you didn't need to walk forward there. I don't think that, or at least I didn't see a soul down on the ground that you're trying to go for. So sometimes, even though it looked like there were minions in the way, it's safer to just guarantee stand behind them. So Instinct does get punished for that. Now we're onto the Dragon. Chad starting this up solo. Actually doesn't have priority in bot or mid for right now, so Hyper can contest this.
So remember what I was talking about earlier, the re-invade from Chad to steal away the leveled up camps. That's how you keep junglers out of the game. Chad not going for this means that Hyper has a kill here, maybe even a steal. Oh, he doesn't actually want to.
Yeah, Yasui won the push mid, so that will give the Dragon over. Yasui level 6 Annie means that Hyper can't really go over the wall for the steal. Could have looked for the blast cone into the smite, into the clone back over the wall, but they pulled the Dragon. It's too far out. Very dangerous, so decides not to. Good first Dragon setup for Immortals. And now Joey's looking for something in mid here. Ooh, I thought he was going to just commit to the flash anyway, but the cage will deter the play. Oh, does it? He still has flash hook. He didn't use hook.
He has cleanse,
yeah, they're just going to go for it anyway. Flash from Yasui. That's cleansed down, and Chad with the follow-up.
Oh,
nice full range Q from Joey. And that is a kill credit to Yasui.
Good patience from the side of Immortals Challengers. Chad and Joey syncing up well again, just like they did in game 1. And that was after Blaze teleported, so he's going to lose out on a good bit of golden XP from such a punish that Hyper will be collecting for himself instead. Immortals playing this early game even better than the first one. And even though FlyFam scale, even though they are okay with falling a little bit behind, they need to stop the bleeding a little bit. They need to lose less than what they have been so far, unless they get to a point where them scaling won't matter.
Looks like Lunacia got a little bored there. Just takes a really rough trade into a rumble.
We need some dopamine, you know?
Yeah, right. I got cooldown boots. I can take this trade. Actually, goes for another one. Okay, so those quick little bursts, it's fine, because you can... I don't think he got a grasp rock. It wasn't enough time to stack it up. But Hyper is here. Maybe they're just trying to get ADD low enough that then they can look for an assassinate. Level 6 on the Wukong, but level 8 on ADD. Still has the ult. Cage is used early from Blaze. Doesn't get a stun onto anybody. And Yasui has stun set up. No Tibbers set up. And now they have the carpet down. ADD gets kill credit onto Hyper. Lunacia looks to flash over the wall. Does not get there in time. So Chad picks up another.
Really nice again from Immortals Challengers, not having the position, seemingly indecisive. And it cost them dearly. This gold lead from Immortals has shot up to 3,000, and it's only going to go higher with the Rift Herald that they've gotten for themselves here.
Immortals Challengers are poised to take this series 2-0 from this state. This composition is so strong. Annie's going to be reaching one-shot potential, and actually, now I say it, going for a very defensive build. But as we get another look at the replay, they didn't need Tibbers to actually win this fight.
And the thing is, it starts a little too soon. They know Lunasia's walking, and because Hyper's here, they're like, oh, well, I mean, let's just kill him. They chain stun him perfectly. They lay down the red carpet. They say, this one's for you and only you, Hyper, as they get the double kill to secure the Herald.
And Blaze is not stacked enough on the Vigard to actually get the kill on the ADD. It was close, got him low, but the Vigard needs a little more AP at this point. Does not even finish an item yet. Getting towards that Rod of Ages soon, but it's going to be a slightly delayed Rod of Ages from the looks of it. Did get that one kill early plus first blood, so that helps. But overall, down in CS. Now we have ADD getting some vision down, making Hyper's life a little harder. I mean, the camps are all gone, so he's not going to be there, but this gives ADD a lot of information to play very aggressive in this lane now.
Right, that's what matters there. You have the info, and it's good for Chad and the rest of Immortals too. You have that idea, all right, well, Wolves are gone. He's not on this side of the map, especially because ADD walked by the other camps. So now it means Wixie and Joey have that information on top of the vision to get this wave in, and they just back away to avoid losing out on any plays. I will say too, Wixie has the Kraken Slayer built, already really coming online. Chad has the Divine Thunderer as well. Just the fruits of this early game labor Immortals have gotten.
I want Chad to go top. He's actually pathing bot side right now. I see the Rumble ahead of Lunasia getting this shove in, and Lunasia only has magic resist, no armor. So Chad could just take the full turret, but Chad's instead deciding to go bot lane. They're going to play through Wixie on the Draven, give the bot lane a little bit of love. We said Wixie might just be the main character of this team from this point on in the bracket, even coming in to the bracket itself. Lunasia, though, looking for a 1v1 play onto ADD. The turret shot will help. Throws down the equalizer, and Lunasia just walks out of it. So a trade of ults. Death Sentence onto the bot lane here. Sword has to flash away. Chad can follow, doesn't land the stun onto Instinct, and now Hyper might re-engage. Oh, Chad will be rooted, but gets the Lantern to safety, and no play bot.
Still, good answer from Hyper. And plus, he had the information as well. As Immortals, that Hyper should be in the area, so they don't overcommit, but they still maintain control. As Chad is looking for another place to drop the Rift Herald. Actually, Hyper, I like this. It's just going to zone Joey and Chad off away from Wixie. They actually have that moment now to move into the river and start clearing out some vision now that this dragon has spawned.
Let's see where ADD is. Okay, ADD went back to lane. Lunasia has teleport. If we go for a dragon fight, FlyFam can have more members here. Important to track that, because that could be the differentiator. I know that Immortals have a gold lead right now, plus just item lead in general, but if you're down one champion, it can look real rough in these moments.
Especially with an ultimate as powerful as that exploding cask. That's why you're seeing ADD very wisely using the prio. He's earned the lead he's got to walk his way mid and can easily, after this Rift Herald, rotate down to help secure the dragon. It's just been clean from Immortals.
Okay, Cage is down. Once that disappears, the Immortals go for the dive. Oh, you see we didn't have the stun stacked up. If you have stun with Tibbers, I think you just kill Blaze right there. Not going to go for it, though.
Yeah, they saw Blaze switch to the Ignite, so they're not taking any chances using the Unsealed Spellbook. But FlyFam, I mean, not going to be able to do anything about this dragon as expected. Expecting Instinct and Sword to just walk back to lane, continue farming up. We could actually see, Instinct.
Oh, this is bold Instinct. Oh, Yasui doesn't just pull the trigger.
I was amazed. Maybe it's like you don't know where everyone is. So they're like, oh, is he by himself? Surely he wouldn't walk up without the rest of his team there. So I'm just going to let that one go. We're getting this dragon anyway. It's the mind game.
The Senna jump scare. It's like, oh, what do I do? It's just the Senna walking at me.
Yeah, it's like she's walking at me. She has to have
Clearly,
friends.
she's confident enough that I'm going to lose this.
Yeah, exactly. So it's the mind games.
Yeah,
and
it's a mindset, really.
Yeah, exactly. Winning is a mindset. One that Immortals have adopted wholeheartedly. You like that, Kangas? As Immortals have gotten their second Drake halfway towards the soul, and another kill.
nicely lined up. That will get heal out of Instinct, the ultimate out of Tom Kench. One hook from Joey, does it all.
And keep an eye out on that for the rest of the game. He's going to be pretty instrumental. My issue with Immortals draft when we were looking at it from the end of draft was that your only go button really is Yasui flash ulting and Joey landing a death sentence. He's good at them. Keep in mind, shows in that confidence Immortals have to have him basically be one of the sole fight starters on this team.
Immortals now have repositioned some of their laners. They got Wixie and Joey mid lane. They used the Draven Thresh priority. Oh, okay. Silly for something. They used the Draven Thresh priority to stack up 2 dragons, but now it's not going to be about the dragon. It's about the next Herald, so this makes a lot of sense for me. Get your power by this objective. It does mean Yasui won't be at this fight if FlyFam contests, but FlyFam just aren't really in a position to contest.
Right.
They're pretty far behind right now, and if they lose a contest at this Herald, that means the game is pretty much over. I think that their saving grace is that they have scaling. They just need to slow the game down, and Immortals, the way they play, the way that they're focusing these objectives off spawn is not giving FlyFam much time to play with, as the first turret will fall. ADD did it all solo. I mean, that was not a lot of help coming in from Chad. Oh, wait a minute. I don't think this is a kill. Yeah, it's just trading health bars aggressively, although I say that. Yasui stacking up the second stun. If you get another rotation in, stun lands, Tibbers in, the auto's coming through. Blaze has not traded back yet. Dawning Shadow trying to keep him alive. The stun lands, and Blaze should be out of there just fine, but Yasui almost got that.
That was brutal. The stopwatch really is what saved him. And the whirling death? Oh, it's not going to find anything. That would have been another crazy cash in. Wixie's gotten over 100 CS since that first kill, so he's actually sitting on a lot of adoration stacks. And another kill for him, I mean, for one thing, it means he's going to pick up a lot of gold, but remember, thing that they changed about Draven, which is really nice, is that the more stacks he has, the higher the execute threshold is. So
True.
You gotta be really careful at lower health as the members of FlyFam.
Yeah, Blaze didn't have to flash to dodge out though, so it looks like it was just a misread of Wixie as to where he decided to back underneath the turret. VD has a 1v1 on Lunacia again. Little tankier currently, so I doubt that the Rumble has enough in the tank to just one-shot this Gragas, but it's a decent trade right there.
Right. And now we're looking at FlyFam. We talked about them needing to scale, them getting to a point or rather them getting to a state at this point in the game where they're not too far behind. They haven't been able to do that. And we're waiting for crucial spikes for them to be able to do really anything at this point. Instinct, of course, is the fasting Senna, so you aren't gaining income as quickly as you would, of course, if you were farming, but is getting closer to what looks like the Kraken Slayer. That will be a big one for her. Blaze is getting up there in terms of stacks. Once we see the second item come through, there is a lot of burst potential here. FlyFam, because of Hyper and Lunacia and all the CC they have, kind of similar to what they did in Game 1, if you can get on top of somebody powerful like ADD, Chad, Wixie, take them out of the picture before Immortals have a chance, it's really your only way to teamfight right now.
I'm happy you mentioned that they have to kill ADD because this is a 2-item Rumble.
He's dead.
Yeah, about to get a second turret. ADD is having a series right now. The Malphite was pretty standard ADD play. No surprises. The Rumble is surprising to me, and I'm very impressed with how ADD has been playing this, making me eat my words from earlier in the day. And is the clear standout right now. 3,500 gold ahead of Lunacia, who is tied for second place with Hoon for solo kills in the regular season. Lunacia is a player that we expect to be a lane-focused player, and he just got bodied in lane by ADD on Immortals Challengers, as now we have a chase here for turrets. It's an outer turret for FlyFam, that's okay. But now you're going to have a Herald charge onto your inhibitor turret as the Tier 2 falls. Immortals Challengers are not giving FlyFam room to breathe.
No, but FlyFam have to make trades like these. Overcommit to a side lane. You're hoping to catch out Yasui if he disrespects, but at least you get the turret, which is an objective bounty there. A nice little tech from Joey. to get over the wall. The teleport
Cute.
mid is very interesting from Blaze. Tells me FlyFam actually really want to contest it. They haven't reached the item spikes we're talking about, but they like their chances.
Wow, FlyFam just committing. Yasui was top, has teleported bot lane though. FlyFam in a really rough spot. Equalizer kind of whiffs, doesn't do a lot of damage. ADD goes forward though, has the Flame Spitter plus the stopwatch. Yasui is able to get back there. Chad is unleashed, and Chad with the resets, Wixie with the damage. FlyFam have no hope in this fight. Instinct gets routed. Chad prevents the escape path, and Immortals with a teleport from Yasui blocked FlyFam's retreat as they got very aggressive, looking for a fight where there really just wasn't one.
Yeah, that was rushed. That was a desperate play from FlyFam. You didn't clear out any vision, so the TP flank was perfect from Yasui. And realistically, you didn't reach the key break points. You're so far behind. There isn't a world you win this fight unless, again, you blow somebody up instantly. But as soon as the cage doesn't catch somebody, as soon as the hook lands on the sword and Yasui has time to show up, there's no ghost of a chance that FlyFam would ever win.
I think that was the moment. FlyFam have the scaling composition. They got, I don't know if this is the pressure mounting up. It's a high pressure game, the highest pressure game in the entire split for them, as Hyper will just get soloed by ADD. Cannot run through the equalizer, has to just stand there. ADD gets the solo kill in Hyper's own jungle. And this series is over. 10,000 gold lead as the Baron is just spawning at 20 minutes. Immortals Challengers are showing up in the lower bracket.
They are, and they're showing us that playoffs Immortals is alive. Chad and Joey always place better in playoffs than they do in the regular split. They always clutch it up in playoffs. And even if it is against FlyFam, this has been domination and great gameplay from Immortals Challengers.
And I gotta say, it's not the way I expected, as Blaze might just die here. Oh, Yasui didn't quite commit to the Tibbers. If I saw Immortals winning this, I thought it was going to be Chad and Wixie carried. And don't get me wrong, they absolutely are carrying their weight, but ADD is stepping up in a way that I just didn't expect coming into playoffs, especially based on what we saw in their last series. But now this time around, he says, nah, Lunacia, he's a rookie. He doesn't know what it's like in these kinds of situations. ADD
Let me show him.
Has been on the international stage before and says, I got what it takes. And it's just going to be the victory lap here for Immortals. Unless they do something egregious to throw, you just don't lose game states like this. Very rarely. 2 minutes until Dragon's Soul and you're 10,000 ahead. You got the Baron. This game's going to end very quickly.
Oh.
Blaze will almost die. Nice. Okay, had flash.
That's a pretty big deal. You know ADD doesn't have teleport. You saw him bottom side. FlyFam, they could be looking for a moment.
Oh, Yasui walked up the Blaze. I love the positioning from Yasui here. The substitute coming in the final hour for Immortals Challengers. We thought that could be a big factor in the upset. The community was talking about that at large. Is that Immortals were poised to be upset in this one. FlyFam looked on the up and up. Immortals with the sub, maybe they're not going to be as strong, but Yasui has slotted in just fine to what this team needs, and it's nothing short of impressive. The consistency of players like Joey and Chad to always make these deep runs, when they also have had histories of, doing it on different rosters. Chad subbed in from an amateur roster to an academy roster, and then won Proving Grounds all the way back in summer 2021. You love to see players like this continue to find success.
Right, it's historical. We've seen it over and over, and it's great to continue seeing it from players like Chad and players like Joey. And yeah, I agree. It's cool to see Yasui fit in just well. Another player who, of course, LCS experience, but honestly took a break.
Fox back in the day, baby.
Yeah, and Dignitas most recently in 2021. And the fact is, hasn't done much competitive League of Legends, and by much, I mean none at all, since then. And it's just another day in the office, apparently, because even the game, one game he played in their previous series since Balulu played game 1, it looked convincing, and he's looking good.
Now Immortals walking in the Baron minions. They still have this buff for a little bit longer. Dragon Soul's up in 30 seconds, so even if they don't end the game here, they're doing just fine. They can force FlyFam to walk into them and contest the Soul, as it looks like FlyFam this time will hold the line. I don't know if we're going to get the same end that we did in game number 1, that 100-0 finish where Immortals just pull the trigger and commit to the game end, but they also still could. Joey pops the Shurelias, gets everybody sped up as they take down the first inhibitor turret. FlyFam are walking up. Viper has a flank. This is a big flank. But it's just Chad that you see. That's not the member you want to engage onto. ADD kicked away. Hyper's trying to get back to safety. Yasui threatening with the Tibbers, engaged on by Lunacia, but just does no damage. The stun just in onto Lunacia instead. Immortals are playing this very patient for right now. Equalizer was used. Chad ult was used. That's actually every ult except for Tibbers and the cage from Joey. So maybe FlyFam actually have an avenue here. It's going to be tight.
Yeah, Tibbers is the big ult you're worried about at this point. You have no vision, but remember, Immortals use so much of theirs to set up close to the base. Keep in mind, Blaze just needs one good cage.
Yasui flash, Tibbers on a 3! Yasui, the last minute ringer for Immortals, will find the game-winning play as FlyFam were forced to approach the Dragon Soul. Wixie with a triple kill, and Immortals Challengers will continue the tradition. Joey and Chad will make deeper runs in playoffs and head higher than they do in the regular season. It's looking likely as they just made quick work of FlyFam, who were poised for the upset with a substitute mid laner. They had the momentum coming in, but Immortals Challengers say no, and they will send FlyFam into the relegation tournament with a swift series win. Oh, they're not going for the end. Oh. Okay, never mind. We will get one more fight, but that's 2 inhibitors down at least.
It's so hard. I mean, a Baron's up in a minute. That's going to go over to Immortals very easily, and we'll see the replay here. This is a call I actually like. You want to defend the Soul, and a lot of tools were used up, but Joey, ever stalwart on the engage, gets Lunacia out of the picture right away, and FlyFam couldn't play the fights as slow as they needed to make it happen. I mean, so much credit to Yasui for that flank. They had no idea because FlyFam didn't have time, once again, to check vision, do their due diligence before walking into fog.
So, Dragon Soul, Super's pushing in 2 lanes. Do Immortals wait for the Baron, or do they just look for the game end right now? Joey is fishing for it. If they get their vision line set up, they could just look for that Thresh hook and close it from there.
Yeah.
Even though the game did not end, it still feels over as an equalizer is just thrown out for fun from AD. Look at Instinct Self-Bar.
Yeah, the cooldown is so low, he can just throw it out at this point. You usually go Ultimate Hunter on this Jab, so he's just fishing, seeing what he can get. And looking at items, you're getting some break points that you really need from FlyFam. The Death Cap is a big one. Blaze actually pivoted from the Saras just because of how badly he needed that spike of damage. That's a big one for the Vigar, but nobody else is on 2 items. You're hoping Instinct can get there so that he can at least somewhat contest damage, but he's so far away, only has the Raged Life. Nowhere close to
FlyFam, their only play is to clump up his 5.
That's right.
And just look for a miracle fight. They are finding Chad. They get the ult out defensively, but that sends us on to Lunacia. ADD's over the wall. The Equalizer's coming off cooldown in about 15 seconds, but Yasui could be the engage. Joey goes in, says, I'll make it happen. The cage is delaying Wixie, but it's not stopping the whole fight. And the whirling death on everybody. The carpet death on everybody. Combos from Immortals Challengers as FlyFam, with their valiant last stand, will bid farewell to the NACL bracket. And Immortals Challengers will continue their run. Beautiful series, 2-0, under 60 minutes. Quick work from Immortals Challengers.
FlyFam, they were on the up and up. They were moving on that upwards trajectory, Kangas, but Immortals were a stopgap they could not overcome, and now they have to fight their way back through the promotion relegation tournament so that they can come back to NACL in summer.
And they are still looking like a solid team going into that relegation tournament. They fought their hearts out in this series, but Immortals Challengers clutch factor is too strong, man. You can't beat the Joey Chad tournament arc, and I think that they were definitely feeling like they're on the receiving end of that narrative. So shout-outs to FlyFam for competing throughout. We'll wish them luck in the relegation tournament, but also Immortals Challengers have a really solid chance to continue their run, continue their tradition of making those deep runs. And again, Yasui stepping up here as a substitute coming in and not skipping a beat. Do you understand how hard it is to find a mid laner at this caliber, that late into a season, going into playoffs, who's even willing to come in and play for your team. I mean, props to Yusui for stepping up and doing it. And shout out to whoever on Immortals was able to, find him and say, hey, are you
Get
available?
him back in. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we talked to Darshan about it when 100 Thieves beat Team Liquid first a couple days ago. He talked about how, he had some pretty good performances, but he says when he was first scrimming, it was up and down. Some games, solo killing a lot. Other games, he was getting smoked. So it was that 50-50 adjustment period for him. But Yasui's just like, whatever, man. It's just League of Legends.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll get to hear how the transition has been for him going from retired. I don't know if he was retired fully. We'll get to hear shortly because he will be our interview after this break. Sierra will be back to chat with the mid laner from Immortals Challengers about their 2-0 series after this.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Verizon post-game interview. I'm going to be sitting down with Yusui after this 2-0 victory over FLYF. First off, congratulations. That playoff run dream is still happening. What were your expectations going into this series to start the day?
I think it's fair to say we expected a quick victory. I know we fell short a couple days ago versus FLYF Challengers, but we were still very confident going into this match today.
And then what I more so wanted to talk about, I want to talk about you joining this roster, because obviously for Immortals, that was a very, very big change so late into the split, heading right into playoffs. First off, how did this come about that you'd be slotting into this role?
Well, their LCS mid, Blaze Olive, decided to step back from the position. So they promoted Balulu, who was their Challengers mid at the time. And I got a Discord DM from the general manager of Immortals, and he was kind of just feeling out like what I was doing at the time. And I had pretty much just started playing League again after taking about a year off. And I was just like grinding away at solo queue, but I really wanted to compete again. So I guess one thing led to another. I scrimmed with the team, and they decided to pick me up as a starter for playoffs. Excuse me.
All right. And you said you took a year off to more focus on school and stuff. So how has that been for you?
It's been okay. I'm like slowly completing my degree. But League still has like a huge influence and impact on my life, and after not playing for a while, it really felt like it was time to find a way back in, and ultimately my goal is to get back to the LCS stage.
Oh, right. So are we going to, like right after playoffs, are we going to be getting to see a lot more of you sooner rather than later, or do you need to kind of finish the degree thing first? Like, where are we seeing you in the short future?
I don't know. Whatever happens, happens. Kind of just living in the moment and seeing what is possible.
All right. And then now the fact that you're stepping into Balulu's shoes, going into playoffs, how has that been for you? Because I feel like there would be a lot of expectations and pressure slotting in.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I think I was I was very rusty at the very beginning of practicing with the team, but it's getting better every single day, and I think Lulu and I have very different play styles as far as like champion picks, and even just like gameplay. We're pretty different, but I'm trying my best to kind of fill the kind of vocal leadership role that he had within the team. So yeah, that's my goal going forward.
All right, and then since you're so late into our split and just heading into playoffs now, you're a very fresh pair of eyes on everything that's happening. So I'd love to know your thoughts on this Immortals roster and just how this playoff run is going to be going.
Yeah, I think our roster has a lot of potential to go far. I think we're inconsistent at the moment, and I think that's kind of been the trend for their whole season. I know they've kind of like went 1-1 with most teams, even like the top end and the low end. So I think the goal for playoffs is to just be as consistent as possible and try to be performing at that like top end, because I think if we are, then we can beat any team.
Right, and then the next team that you're going to be facing is Golden Guardian Challengers. I know that you're just hopping in, so might not have too many thoughts, but I still wanted to question if you did have any expectations or thoughts going up against them next.
I've beaten Prismal before in playoffs, and I'll do it again.
Oh, all right, fighting word. All right. Last thing before I let you go, any final words from you?
Just shout out to family, fans, friends, Tom Shu. Thanks for the support. Appreciate it.
And thank you for sitting down and talking with me. Have a good rest of your day, okay?
All right, thank you. You too.
Yeah, all right. Our first series definitely was a quick one with FLYF eliminated and Immortals moving on, but we still have another series to be going through today. It's going to be TLF taking on CLG Challengers after the break.